Functional Deviations.
Change all your settings so that the video or your audio are not coming out the same place. So now you should be able to hear me. So, all right, that means I can start over, right? Hey everybody, welcome to Show X. So everybody, Merry Christmas, and sorry about that. Hey, that was yes, I did not see that everything was bouncing except on the YouTube stream, which is the one place where it mattered most. So, Merry Christmas, everybody. I guess I can start that all over again. Yay! So, as I was trying to say, welcome to Show X, and unfortunately Ken's not with us today. He is in Geneva with family, and so wish them a very Merry Christmas, and all of you out there as well, and welcome to a Christmas Eve show. Due to it being Christmas Eve, and me not being in the office and out and about, this may be a truncated, shorter show. Just depends on how much constitution and effort I feel like I'm going to put into it. So we shall see. I do have support on the side, so welcome to Miss Hyde for joining me, and so we'll see if we get into discussions or such beyond just saying Happy Holidays, Merry Christmas, Merry Kwanzaa, and whatever Festivus and things, and Chanukah, and everything else people may be celebrating this season. But welcome, at least to my family members, both Earth and Babs, for joining to say hello. So welcome, you guys. Hopefully you guys are having a lovely Christmas Eve morning. I know, Earth, I believe you are out with the family and the folks out in Nebraska right now. And if so, please give a Merry Christmas to the parents, the nieces, and all of them. Babs, Happy Christmas to your side of the family and to the nephews. Hopefully everybody has received gifts that I have shipped. Thank goodness for the powers of the internet and Amazon Prime. All of the sending that way. That is the best way to gift, because it is the best way to make sure things get where they need to go on time and not have to pay 10 times the price when you buy it locally and ship it yourself.
Amazon's sponsors.
So, yeah, no, Amazon, hey. Actually, it just means that we should probably get an Amazon store at some time, and then I could buy it for myself and get credit. I do spend a lot on Amazon.
Now we're cooking with fire.
What a thought. It's almost like that would be... Yeah, anyways. So, but yes, Merry Christmas, everybody. And so I am in New Mexico because family is all dispersed around the country, and just wasn't working out this year for us all to get together at once. Instead, we have run out, and I have taken the opportunity to head down to New Mexico and enjoy seeing some luminaries this weekend. In fact, I think that's tonight that we are going to a Christmas party and seeing luminaries, which for those who don't know, and I don't know how culturally wide it is, but it is definitely a New Mexican thing, where instead of kind of traditional Christmas lights, which also exist all over town, a very New Mexican thing is to have basically little paper bags with candles that you usually stand in the bottom and candles in it, that are set up often on the walls around or on kind of the flat roofs of the houses around and provide illumination that way. So it's very much like Christmas lights, but little, almost like torches or lanterns, which is really neat, really pretty, and kind of a different way of seeing things than what many Americans are used to seeing for Christmas celebration and lights and decoration. And so I'm really looking forward to that. It's been years since I've been able to experience something like that, and so I cannot wait. I was going to talk about, and feel free to email into the show, because even though it's just me and Ken's out doing his thing, I'm kind of jealous. I need to follow him one of these days to Geneva. That sounds like so much fun. I saw some pictures he's posted, and they are having many, many Christmas celebrations. Plus, because they're on the other side of the world and 8 hours ahead of us, or me, that means they are getting closer. Let's see, it's noon here, so they are like 4 hours away from Christmas itself over there. I also saw some notices from the other side of the ocean, on the other direction, from Japan and Korea and such, where it is already Christmas. So Merry Christmas to anyone out there, especially to our friends out in Australia that do no excuses and things like that. So Merry Christmas to everybody. All right. 'Tis the season. What else did I want to talk about top of the show? Should possibly be all fine for a show next week. That should be good. Ken should be back, I believe. So we'll see how that goes. Anyhow, for us, I'm actually kind of fortunate too, because I kind of got to get away from what's currently going on back home, which is apparently a blizzard. And so I lucked out in that coming down here where it's nice and like 50 degrees and mostly sunny, and you know, that whole I would say sometimes overrated experience of having a white Christmas. Because apparently it was blizzard condition over the last couple of days, and friends of mine who were flying into town were getting blown about on their planes, were getting stuck at gates because they couldn't even taxi the planes up to the gates and things like that, so who knows. But it sounded like a hot mess, and we were not in it. Instead, we were wondering, what did we do? Yesterday, this is going to be mostly a dysfunctional deviation show anyways, we spent most of yesterday, while everyone else was freezing around the world, traveling around antiquing and doing a whole lot of Pokemon Go. I've been very happy recently that I've been able to play a lot of Pokemon Go since I finally have my phone that's able to play it again. Thank goodness. And unfortunately having missed out on things like Ho-Oh and such in some of the raids, but still being able to get out there and maybe eventually I'll be a higher level again. I don't know. Seems like everyone I know who started playing just months ago has already caught up to me, since I was terrible for so long.
True.
Yay for the support.
I'm here for you.
You're here for something.
It's the tea. I'm here for the tea.
True. Here for the tea. For those who don't know, or anyone who's followed in the past knows that part of the reason to come down to New Mexico for us every time is because we have access to one of the best, tea room experiences you could hope to ever see. And yes, I am doing shameless plugs for them, and I will continue to do so whenever down here. But the St. James Tea Room, which you can find online, puts on an amazing experience that isn't just having tea. When people talk about, what, you drive all the way down to New Mexico and pay $50 to have tea? It's like, yeah, I do. Yes.
Yes, I do.
Because it is a wonderful experience where you not only get to drink 3 courses of wonderfully flavored teas that require very little, if any, kind of modification, addition, or things like sugar, cream, or otherwise, although some benefit very well from it. Mostly it's there because not only do you get a beautiful ambiance of a wonderfully decorated environment where every party that goes gets to have its own little experience, either behind heavy velvety curtains or in its own little nook of a room that are all themed and decorated differently. You get to experience these wonderful little finger food type setups of all 3 of a savory course, a bread course, and a dessert course. And in the end of it, everyone I know has been stuffed to the gills, including some who don't seem to be able to finish even their dessert meals, which is sin.
It was a tragedy. Oh, man. Luckily, they offer take-home boxes.
Yes, so they get to be consumed, but anyhow. So we'll do that constantly regardless because awesome. Anyhow.
Let's do this every month.
Like we have almost. Anyhow. So, did that. So came down for tea, as we do. Also, let's see, Friday. So it was mostly tea, and then we went to a party, right?
Yes.
Was that Friday?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Amber's party.
So we went to...
Best tamales ever.
Oh, so one of the other fun things where I'm used to traditionally having done this for years in the past, Hyde has been having a little more introduction to a lot of New Mexican culture, cuisine, and otherwise, which is a lot of fun. It's always fun to share things you know with friends. And in doing so, we went to a friend of Zenko Akko, old friends, one of Zenko's oldest friends, that actually we got to hear great stories of as well. It's always fun when you get to meet the past of others. Went to her house up in the nice area of town north of Albuquerque. Like, I almost don't want to joke on them
Yeah, we won't,
on the
we
show.
won't touch on that.
That's in Turtle. But up in a nice area of town up north, overlooking a lot of Albuquerque. Beautiful view. They were having a house party for Christmas, celebrating with friends and all, and had a great spread of food, including tamales, enchiladas. I didn't have any pozole, but they had red and green chili. They had a wonderful drink setup.
They had a hot drink bar, and you could go make yourself hot chocolate or apple cider, and then they had, like, jars of caramel, jars of marshmallow. Like, it was a delightful house party setup.
Ah, it was
Oh my
so nice.
goodness.
As well as a cold drink bar where they had lemonade, tea, eggnog, and various things like that. It was just so nice. As well as outside, they had a fire pit set up around with chairs and blankets even out on the chairs,
And
ready for people.
s'mores.
All the fixings for s'mores. I don't know, what did they have on TV? I don't know if they had actual shows on TV. I know there were kids running around everywhere.
No. She had a Netflix thing of holiday music and a fireplace.
Oh, they had the fireplace. That's right. They had the Yule log fireplace going.
Yes.
That's what it was. Up on the screen while everyone was just being festive and talking. It was fun, too, because no matter where you go, at least for our culture especially, when you get to interact with geeks, it's always nice. And Zenkaga's friend, Amber, and her family and friends are all geeks. And in a specific case, all of them are part of the local branch of the 501st. And so they're all Star Wars nerds. Which
That was fun.
Yes, it was a ton of fun. And so it makes it really easy to kind of interact, especially when you walk in the door and you see one of the new, three-quarter size maybe? I'm trying to decide how big it was. Remote control BB-8s out there, which is not one of the little Sphero ones, which Hyde has one of, which is awesome and fun. But this thing's actually was, foot and a half, 18 inches or so tall? Built basically the same way in that it has the head that rolls everything, and it has actually...
a magnet head.
Yeah, with the rollers on it, and a remote control, and it's neat, because like the Sphero one has the same concept, of course, because BB-8's mechanical pieces are all basically known. But the Sphero one, it just kind of has the magnet on top of the little internal mechanism that allows you to turn the head and keeps it on top as it rolls. This one, not only did it have that, it also had additional electronics in the head. At least enough to light up. I don't know if it was enough to do much else, but at least enough to light up little lights and such as it turned the head and things. It would be really cool if it had like cameras and other stuff in it, but who knows? Or like, a little holographic projector, or... We have ideas,
let's
I know.
crack it open.
I know, we have ideas.
So this was my first time seeing one of those, so we might have dissected the entire thing and figured out how to...
Not literally.
Not literally, just looking
looking
in our
at
heads.
it. Yeah, just...
and we were like, oh, how could we make this more?
yes, better,
So basically
stronger.
we're going to take this Sphero technology and Roomba technology, smush them together, and make the ultimate BB-8.
Oh, we
So I can tell it to go back to its dock.
Go, BB-8, do your thing. Well, because we also figure because the little Sphero one's cool because it has like what you have with the wireless
Wristband.
controller for it, the little
It's a
wristband.
little accelerometer.
Yeah, it lets you actually control it remotely through motions as well as play games and other things updated with the software. One of our thoughts was this big one has the controller and all this stuff, but what would be really cool is if we merged the two. Take the innards of the Sphero, not literally the mechanical pieces, but the electronics, and tie it into this bigger BB-8 that they have, so it can
Supersize me.
and control it all the same way with the wristband, but maybe even hybrid it in there, add other things, and just make it like, as we said, the best BB-8 it could be. We have
I have
ideas.
big dreams
Yes.
and little knowledge of how to do so.
That's the cosplay
get there.
engineering side of us. We'll figure it out.
Hot glue. Hot glue and duct tape.
Hot glue does everything. Well, you can create anything with hot glue.
Yeah. Now I just need hot glue that is conductive of electricity.
Oh, you see, you just put a wire in the hot glue as you're gluing.
Genius.
Done. So anyhow,
Paperclip in hot glue.
right?
Nice.
Conductive. You probably just stab it in.
Yeah.
So we had ideas,
Sweet.
but that was tons of fun. It goes along with, as well as you would notice, like all the little hidden geekery that was around the house, and so like pictures and artwork and just all kinds of little lots, basically mostly Star Wars.
Yeah, all Star Wars.
So they're very into the Star Wars thing, which is awesome. It also allowed me to be a complete jerk, and over here as they're just socializing in general, and then I hear, oh, well, The Force Awakens and da-da-da. I was like, huh? Wait, do I hear Star Wars talk? Is it about movies in Star Wars? Because there was one that we might have just seen. Yeah. At which point I found ways to worm my way into other people's discussions because for some reason, have this like burning desire to ruin people's opinions of the new movie by talking about my opinions of the new movie.
You know, I think they really appreciated it, though. I think they really appreciated having a good argumentative conversation.
And I wasn't going to be like, yes. I mean, it was a discussion about different viewpoints, about what we all experienced
There was a
in
lot
The
of
Last
disagreement,
Jedi.
but it was good.
And thankfully, no one came out of it with a, you're wrong. Well, okay, I may have said that a few times. Okay.
I might have, too. You're wrong, and here's why.
So for me, and I'm doing my best still not to spoil because we still have, 2 weeks, I think, before we're allowed to officially on air talk about Star Wars. I put it in that, and this is not a spoiler at all, this is previous content, that in my world, the prequels don't exist. And I believe I've ranted about this multiple times on the show as to why I say this, because I believe the original canon set forth in the original trilogy was so well done and left, without having to go into specific details on the past, left just enough teasers to let you infer really great depth and epicness of things that must have happened to get to where we were at the moment of the movies. That I felt the prequels just trashed and took away all the joy and beauty that could have been because they were so poorly written and just kind of forcing themes through. And it's almost as though the writing was never taking into account what had already been done. And so they actually destroyed plot that had been put there by the original movies.
What? Star Wars retconning things?
It's almost like,
We'll talk about this
and this was pre-Disney, mind you, right? This is pre-Disney, and this was the whole Lucas debacle, and this was the expanded universe, all those books that LucasArts and George Lucas had to approve all the, things from to be canon in the first place, suddenly don't exist, even though they were better. Anyhow.
That being said, unpopular opinion, I actually really love Jar Jar Binks.
Very unpopular opinion.
Very unpopular opinion.
If it was Darth Jar Jar, I could support.
Okay, I do also really appreciate that. I appreciate him so much for some terrible, horrible reason, and I know I feel in my bones that it's wrong.
I do ask, because this helps me in a lot of understanding for people's opinions like this. The order of you seeing Star Wars movies.
I did see the 4, 5, and 6 first.
First, you did see the originals before you saw the prequels.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember specifically choosing to go see Spirit instead of Episode 2 in the movie theaters. My mom was like, hey, we could watch Star Wars Episode 2, or we could go see this really cool horse movie. And I'm like, horses!
That's all right. I think
young.
that's actually, I'd be curious. Sister of mine, or Earth, if the nieces and our sister are around, what would the girls prefer to see? Because I know our brother-in-law has done a great job of raising them as geek as could possibly be. And so I'm really curious if they would choose horses, which I know they also love, the whole menagerie down there and like mini ponies and such,
I had one as well.
to like Star Wars, because I know they're huge geeks.
I mean, to be fair, I also had like little tiny, Jedi figurines like riding my horses, so, best of both worlds, but,
I am curious because when those options, like you said, when those come in, and let's see, Babs from Brothers Family putting in there saying, I have some friends holding out on the new movie because Old Republic is no longer canon. Ha ha ha. Oh, that's true. I forgot, Earth. Yes, youngest would definitely be Spirit, as I heard from the Christmas wish list of toys. And so
They made a Netflix series now, and I haven't watched it, and I'm so confused because it's like
because
modern, and
it's because there's people in it, and you weren't comfortable with that.
I'm not comfortable with it. It's the wrong time frame.
But have you seen the new toys?
I don't want to.
There's so many, and they're cute, and there's all the different versions, and I know, I went looking at them. I don't know. Spirit's not my thing. For me, it was Black Beauty, when it came to horses.
Okay, Black Beauty was... Yes, we owned that as well. On VHS.
Well, we had a sister, our family, who loved all things horses, for darn sure. Thus, my original introduction to My Little Pony and things like that. The original, through the sister. As well as, I'm pretty sure she had the Barbie horse and, several things like that. She might have even gotten like She-Ra's horse or something, not even She-Ra. Like just the horse. She was so much into them. So we had it around us and we're experienced. Anyhow, as I digress further. But it was fun to have Star Wars conversation amongst geeks from a whole different area, and me being such an ass and the extrovert I am, jumping right into the middle of things like, hey, listen to my opinion, because it's obviously worth listening to. Anyhow, so from then, what else did we do? The party was good times, although, as normal, amongst this fun group that I get to hang out with, my little tight-knit group, we haven't slept, and we've basically hung out a lot.
I got 6 hours of sleep.
Oh, you did good today.
I know.
We're horrible in that we normally stay up to like 3 or 4 or 5 in the morning, and then sleep, like forcibly turn each other away from each other, meet back in the hallway to keep talking, try again to walk back to the rooms, yet again find ourselves in the hallway talking, and finally at some point just give up, turn around and all sleep. And then my problem with an internal clock saying, well, that doesn't matter that you went to bed at 5, you're going to be up in 2 hours anyways. And so, hey,
I'm sorry for your loss.
it's my life. But beyond that, other things we've done, I'm trying to think how much Christmassy and such. We've talked about in the past, I was trying to say if delaying enough to have them come back and see if they wanted to join into this.
They will be.
Okay, because
They just wanted to drop someone off with you to help you start off your show as well.
I appreciate that. Was not necessary, but thank you.
We came back for you because we care. And we're getting Blake's.
Yes, yes. For those who don't
It's
know,
important.
New Mexico, Blake's or Lotta Burger, both are appropriate. Green chili cheeseburgers, because you don't have green chili unless you're in New Mexico. Or at least you don't do it right unless you're in New Mexico. And so, green chili cheeseburgers from Lotta Burger / Blake's, awesome. Can't wait. And a malt. Because the other thing is it's the holidays, so guess what Wayne gave up for the holiday season?
His keto diet.
Hey, everybody. Cookies and drinks, and yes, that's happening.
So the thing is, you also tea house.
Well, okay, that's the number one reason. Any weekend I'm down here and I'm going to have tea, keto don't get flown out the window.
That's impossible.
Oh, you cannot keto and tea.
No.
No. Because there are teas that do require sugar.
I'm pretty
Or
sure we
not
talked about
required,
how
but
you actually cried at the taste of this food. Like, there were actual tears. All I'm saying is, it's really good, and it's not something I would sacrifice, so I understand why you're not sacrificing it. I know how good it is.
It is very good. I mean, I gave them a commercial at the beginning of the show. It's amazing.
It's true. You did. I was here.
Oh, let's see. Earth saying that you've seen a few episodes of Spirit thanks to the nieces.
Nice.
And yeah, no, that was her sleep pattern of 6 hours. Mine, not so much. I was up before 9. Yay. Anyhow. Let's see, other things. So we will wait on discussions of how our other group of our good friends like to wound us with love or experience. We'll wait for them to see if they get back in time for that. Otherwise, though, for Christmas type things, for people who don't know, I'm a huge sap when it comes to the holidays. I forcibly have made anyone in my car, especially up in Denver, listen to nothing but Christmas music the entire time.
So the road trip down here, that is 8 hours from our home.
6.5, but yes.
It should be
From
8
your
hours
home.
if you go the speed limit.
No! And I was good this time, damn it! Let alone the ticket I'm likely going to get.
Oh, don't talk about it.
One of the jokes saying is, it's unfortunate because I may normally have a somewhat heavy foot on purpose. What really burns is when I don't intend to be speeding, and I'm in an area I don't know, and so don't know the speed limit when I first turn onto a street, going down a hill of a main thoroughfare in a strange town, and then suddenly get flashed blindingly in the eyes by a speed camera truck, essentially on the side of the road. Which is, one, dangerous as all get out, I'll tell you, when it's nighttime and you're trying to go somewhere, looking around, and all of a sudden you can't see. Let's talk about that for a moment. But let alone when you're going and you're just trying to get somewhere. And I don't know what triggered it. I don't know how fast you have to be for it. I know that I was not going an excessive amount of miles per hour over any speed limit.
How do I be like, it was within the 10-mile range.
Oh, it's definitely under 10. It was definitely under 10.
Like 5 to 10 miles, like...
At most. And the problem was it's in an area where the main thoroughfare, anywhere else in the world, would be 45 miles an hour, which I was not even going close to. Here, apparently, it was 30. going down a hill with like 4 lane, like 2 lanes on either side, and not in the neighborhood.
Yeah, that kind of sucked.
Oh, it really sucked. And you're right. So, in most places in the world, they're not legal, brother of mine. But apparently in New Mexico, that's not the case. And it specifically, was it Rio Rancho or whichever this northern area, this nicer area is, they apparently forever have been like as devious and painful as they could possibly be about enforcing speed laws. Where they do not care. We had stories of when Zenko was like 16, so 14 years ago or so,
Yeah. Oh, yep.
of running into speed issues with there. So it's like, so as a van, I understand. I won't say, Babs, that I didn't have thoughts similar to that about how I could get rid of any evidence, but I did not. But thoughts occurred. I will say that much. The only thing stopping me was like, well, if it was my truck that I had set up like that, I would have a built-in Wi-Fi cellular network, so any pictures taken would instantly be uploaded somewhere. But that's me. Here, probably not, and I probably could have, but no. Anyhow, besides that.
We're not discussing, actual
Nothing
defacing of
actually happened that would
equipment.
have been considered in any way against law. So just theorizing of what things people might do in situations. Maybe. Regardless of that. On the trip down, driving, started out with Christmas music as we were getting through cold and there was some snow and blizzardy stuff on the way down because it was much worse north of here than it was here, heading south. And subjected Hyde to Christmas music initially with, I think, at least one mention of, so is this going to happen the whole way? It didn't. I gave up control and DJing to my passenger. So,
In which case, I introduced him to the Adventure Zone. We got through an episode and a half before I fell asleep.
and I got through that second episode and didn't fall asleep, thankfully. Which
I was just laughing because I subjected him to it, and then I fell asleep during it. So then I had the phone, was making him listen to it, and I also wasn't even technically present anymore. So that was good.
Which admittedly I had offered, saying, well, I'm the only one driving. You are welcome to pass out. But
I
being
took
a
advantage of.
good passenger, Hyde tries best to stay awake and participate in the drive down. And really only took about a 20-minute nap.
Yeah.
But the Adventure Zone, especially for Earth, who listens and watches all of the Critical Role episodes, is equally entertaining as Adventure Zone. Essentially, is it just a video or is it audio only?
It's just a podcast.
Yeah, so
it's by the McElroy brothers. They do My Bam Bam, my brother and me. I'm not actually too deep in that fandom, so I don't know all of what they do. They do Monster Factory on YouTube. They do a lot of really fun, hilarious stuff. And one of their recent things was, so it's three brothers, and their dad decided to do a D&D campaign together. And so one of the brothers is DMing, and for most of them, it's their first time playing, and they catch on very fast. They all have a good history of radio, and it is so funny. This is one of the things that I couldn't listen to at work because I would actually fall out of my chair.
Yeah, no, so
Like, just laughing so hard.
it was a great introduction. It actually was a lot of fun to listen to because I admittedly have watched some Critical Role and it's okay for me. But this was just fun. And I think because it is an audio cast and they are mostly all playing remotely, it lends itself better to just listening along.
It's nice because they actually explain like everything they're doing in the D&D campaign, like how it works. So if you didn't do D&D, it is still easily followable, and you know exactly what they're doing and what's going on and why they're doing things. It makes it very easy to follow for someone who doesn't D&D.
Yeah, no, they do a good job of saying this is what the game is about. This is how you would play. And yes, Earth, very nice, man. If my D&D group would catch on fast,
So I had my Christmas last weekend with my family.
which I kind of mentioned, got to participate in to a degree as well. Got to be in the periphery of.
So when you were not present, we actually did do our D&D campaign, which it might be a tradition. It was just something we were trying this year. My brother's never DM'd and he wanted to. But so it was a conversion of two families. It was my sister-in-law's family and my family all meeting up at our house. We had about 15 people in our house for the whole weekend. And that lent itself to an 8-person party in my brother's first DMing group. And I've never actually played D&D, but I listen to a lot, so I understand how it works. So I have the knowledge, just not the experience of it. And then there was only 2 other people in the entire party who have played D&D before. No one else had. Yes, that is a 20-sided die. Yep, that's what you're gonna have to roll for every stat. Yes, that 20-sided dice, the one with 20 sides. No, not that one. Yes, that one. Now roll it. All right. Wait, why didn't it hit? Anyway, we didn't catch on fast, and our 1-hour one-shot took 6 hours spread between 2 days. It's Death House if you're familiar with it, anyone.
The actual module being played, or the introductory story that's being played through.
Yeah, we played the starter version, or like the starter kit one-shot, and then we also played Death House the next day.
Which, not to confuse anyone, that being an actual D&D module slash story, because anything I ever run as a server, anyone who knows VTW, is called Death's House. Which admittedly was
I
something...
actually did think of that. It's called, the run itself, the one-shot story itself was called Death House.
And so,
Which we didn't know until we were like 90% of the way through, and we're like, oh, we're all gonna die. Oh boy.
well, and thank goodness
So-
you had a big party, right?
That's the only reason we survived, is because it was just such a barrage. We took most things down.
Nice. Yeah.
Oh boy.
I think in ours we need to figure out how to... well, it's funny because I know, Babs is saying my clan does not have D&D level attention. Exploding Kittens is about as far as we can get.
Hey, we also played Exploding Kittens, and that is fantastic.
And it's funny because my whole family is all about games, and I don't play them nearly enough. I have found that I have a nasty habit of ensuring everyone else is doing something, and me not. And so I'm trying to think the last time I actually sat down and played games.
You got games here.
Versus hosting games. Much like other things I hosted here for Christmassy things. So, because as I was going into the whole SAP thing, let alone the coming down and us essentially having radio karaoke on the way down.
It's
to
true.
get here.
We traded songs off and on. It was great. I subjected him to my music. He subjected me to his music.
One was a
a good
little
time.
more of a subjecting than others. I am sorry. Since
Your
anyone
singing voice is beautiful.
as anyone on the show who has heard my happy birthday wishes knows, I'm often told to not sing. Yeah. What was it? The
He
last
did very well. He doesn't give himself enough credit. Anyway,
credit where due, but
before you knock yourself, we'll move on.
But one of the things I had decided upon coming down was because we have several kind of friend Christmas events and things happening and different stages of family Christmas events. I am a big fan of Christmas tradition, and one of the things I've been wanting to do is help share and enjoy others and their Christmas traditions. So I actually asked everyone in this group that's down here that we're going to be celebrating tomorrow with what kind of their present opening routines were and things like that. I have known a lot of people who on Christmas Eve will do things as similar as like opening a gift on Christmas Eve. They get to look under the tree, look at all their gifts, and choose one gift that each person gets to open on Christmas Eve, and they all get together and kind of have a pre-Christmas thing and open up the gift. Or people who save that for their stockings or something like that, or just something as a kind of, yay, we're so excited, we're going to do something. In our family, and correct me if I misremember this since the only other people listening are my family, is that for us it was Christmas Eve was just together and happy and fun, and actually more recently and more up to date, it's been a level of
Biscochito shit.
what?
What?
So, for those who don't know about Blake's
Thank you.
Lotaburger, they have seasonal shakes and malts, which I'm a big fan of a shake and malt. The few times I can get into some sugar in my life,
He's also a big fan of Biscochitos.
which are a New Mexican style sugar cookie, normally with a little bit of anise in it, which is kind of a licorice flavor, and a more sandy kind of flavor or texture than your traditional sugar cookie. Apparently, they decided to do a wonderful thing for the world and blend the two. Oh, the excitement in my mind right now and about to be in my mouth. Talk for a moment.
Hey guys. Okay, so one of the fun things that we ended up doing that Wayne so thoughtfully brought up was with projects to do and things to host, is he brought us Christmas stockings to decorate. Like little cheap Christmas stockings.
I'm a
And-
sap. These are the cheapest stockings you could buy at, like, Walmart.
And it was really fun. So I already held mine up, but
Our group.
We got to decorate them. I'm a huge Zelda nerd, so that is the Sheikah symbol on mine with a single present on the bottom. And that's about as far as it got because we got so scared about us mucking up our own things.
So we started out just with some fabric pens
Yeah, fabric pens were good. They were good.
to decorate, put names on and such.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Then we got puff paint.
Then
and
I added puff paint to the mix to allow being able to decorate on the stocking themselves, and especially because I also got a couple green ones.
Ooh.
Yeah, you see how the glitter came out?
Ooh, Undine, it's pretty.
And so basically everyone got to go and decorate their own stockings because, again, I'm a sap. And I thought it'd be fun, and this way I could bring them together. So that's the Zenko logo and then the Guildhall Galatea logo that Akko put on there. And then my hot mess. that I put
stop
on
it.
there.
It's beautiful.
And a hot mess. And I just kind of threw up on my stocking, but it has my name on it.
You drew Holly. It's cute.
Yeah, the one thing that looks like something other than that random almost snake.
Listen,
mine.
pal.
Hey, it's what it looks like. But I got that together because I have silly little nothing gifts to put in them tonight at some point that Santa's going to add. And so I am looking forward to doing that, but I needed a vessel to put them into because it's one thing to just give gifts. It's another thing to give gifts in the most Christmassy ways you can. And I like that because I can.
Super sweet, and I'm really excited.
Anyhow, it's fun actually. This is going to be officially my third Christmas celebration so far this year, with a fourth following, because I also got to spend previous weekend at another friend's, real quick, doing quick gift exchanges and things and Christmas movies and such. And so I'm making a surprisingly long season of it, which is a lot of fun. And so, yep, got those decorations. Can't wait to give gifts for that. I'm actually, one of the worst things is I even brought them each a present that's under the tree. And so I'm looking forward to presenting all those because I really love gift giving, and it's stupid. But I have always considered myself somewhat good at figuring out gifts people will enjoy. And so I get silly about looking forward to their expressions and the experience of them opening and hopefully enjoying whatever it is I come up with. I'd like to think I do a good job, and if nothing else, people are usually gracious enough to make me think so. And so we'll see how I do this year. As well as, and I'm sorry, family, I am making up a little bit for last year because I was a horrible gift giver last Christmas because I got so stuck in my own world that I forgot to really send all the things I intended to send. Hey, family. Hopefully this year's better. Sorry about that. And so as I say about the things I like to do and where I don't always do it. What else do we do? So, again, for me, a whole lot of Pokemon going, and we actually found a street on the way to the party.
Oh, yeah. So we're
Sorry,
on our
Amber.
way.
Thankfully, we had a good time there. It was lovely. Thank you very much for hosting.
Sorry we were so late. You see, on the way there, we just happened to see a lure on a Pokestop. And so we're like, oh, yeah, we'll just casually drive past it because we were all playing at the time. And then it led
Others
to
were
a
helping play for me,
street. Oh, yeah, he was not playing while driving. I was two-fisting it.
which is a very good skill, by the way. I
I was
wow.
insane. Okay,
Wow.
oh my gosh, I was impressed with myself. Trying to catch every Pokestop. Anyway,
I just want Pokestop. She was catching Pokemon for me. I was like, whoa, whoa. But yes,
I spent money on this for a reason.
you
so-
do have an advantage.
We found this street, and just like one lure brought us to it, but it was just, there was stops all down the street, like left and right, like maybe every 10 feet, and there was a lure on every single one of them, and it was a very long street, like it was like a scenic route. Like, how long would you say the road was?
It was miles of just stops everywhere.
Yeah,
with
and we went-
gyms every quarter mile.
We went back and forth a few times on our
Parked a
way
couple
to the party.
times
Yeah,
to let them
stopped.
bang on gyms because some
Beat up
reason
a
they're
few
the wrong
gyms.
team.
Listen, you are with 3 Mystics, and you're the only one on Valor, pal.
Which means I'm right, but it's
No, it
okay.
just means you make terrible life decisions, but that's fine, because I can be friends with people who make terrible life decisions.
You're wrong.
It's okay.
But it was a great experience, and one also because they have just done the update that I was a little bit talking about, where they added 20 additional Pokemon
From
as
Gen 3.
somebody's first gen.
So, to reconcile myself, as that always comes across
Has
horribly,
a niece.
I'm so happy for
It
you.
is
It's
actually
like
like
a, party in your
a
mouth.
liquid biscochito. It is that good.
Good.
Holy cow! Sorry, continue.
You're good. So, with the Pokemon stuff, we did have the original yellow and Crystal, and we had them all, but I, being the youngest, was not allowed to play them because they were my brothers. So my first Pokemon game that I owned was Ruby, which was of the 3rd generation. So despite me knowing and loving Gen 1 and Gen 2, this is probably the most nostalgic for me because it was my actual first Pokemon adventure to call my own. So I'm really excited about that because now I'm seeing all of these Pokemon that are the ones that I know and care about come up, and I'm like warm and fuzzy inside and excited to share my favorite Pokemon.
Which is also really good for someone like me who's never actually played through Pokemon games. You know, I've touched them a few times, like, oh, that's neat, but I was busy doing so many other things.
That's fair. No,
that
definitely.
I never got to sit down and really just engage myself in Pokemon. It's one of the challenges, because I want to say I played, like, Yellow first for a minute. It was either Yellow or Red. I played for maybe an hour or so, because I don't think I ever owned it. I may have had access to another friend's Game Boy or something for it. Because I had a Game Boy, I had an SP, I had I have a 3DS and such. And when I bought my 3DS off of another friend, it came with Y. And so I put like a solid maybe 3-4 hours into Y, which again, from a RPG, especially a Pokemon level, is nothing.
Well, so the thing is, I also have a hard time playing Pokemon games now because when I was little and it was bedtime, I would sit underneath my bed covers when I should have been asleep, playing these games until I fell asleep. So now, when I'm sitting there trying to grind and level up my Pokemon, I will get obnoxiously tired just because I'm like, oh, it's bedtime.
That's right. This is what I do when I sleep.
Yeah, it's terrible. So now I actually have a hard time playing Pokemon because I can't grind without getting really tired. It's terrible.
Oh, that's hilarious. And that was the thing, because anyone who's ever seen me play an RPG, and there were some great memes that we had on Show X's page on Facebook about it, about whether you're the kind who min-maxes an RPG or just plays through it as you can. And thus the experience where, a great example being Final Fantasy VII, which is people like myself who just kept playing the storyline and would grind only as much as was needed to make it through that next thing. So every boss battle I ever did was like, well, this might be terrible. And every time I beat them, I was really excited because it was almost always like bare minimum, could just get through it. I was never able to take out all the weapons. I think I took out maybe 2 of them because the others were just too difficult. I never got high enough stats to beat them. But walked through the game and eventually beat the game and we had a great time. Then I have my friends, and I don't know exactly where you're at in the
I
spectrum.
didn't know what rare candies were until I had already had multiple level 100s in Ruby version.
So some people max games, where for the Final Fantasy reference, our friends of the show from back in the day, especially Octil and Hordak, when we were doing our old show when we were doing Octil and Hordak vs. the World, would tell stories about how they would get Knights of the Round along with the triple cast ability whatever and just raffle stomp any enemy to the point where the last boss was the quickest fight in the game almost because they had max leveled everything. And there's a GIF or a picture I'd seen on a thing where it was like those two extremes shown, where the one person was like, haven't you been in the same area? Or, like, isn't this like the starting area and you're level 25? And it was kind of the comment of like, well...
I will move forward when I can beat these in one hit.
And that's kind of what the answer was. It was some people really want to be able to just demolish whom or whatever it is they come across. And so they will take the time to sit there and build up a point to that they can just go, Hulk smash! You are done.
But it's interesting because then people think that there's the argument of then you're not getting the most of the game. It's like, no. I worked hard to be where I am. Are this hitting level 1s until you're level 25? Obnoxious.
Yeah.
I worked for my
It's a
thing.
dedication that I don't have because I am so busy wanting to progress through the overall story and gameplay of the game so I can beat it, so I can go on to another game. And it's the same reason when it came to MMOs, I can't do MMOs. Because I want to just get through the story, get to the end, and like experience it so I can move on to something new. There are people who really get into MMOs, they just want to keep playing that same MMO forever.
So there are certain exceptions. I do have a lot of trouble grinding on certain games, like World of Warcraft. I genuinely loved playing that until it was taking too long for me to level up, and I was really sick of grinding, and I couldn't really move on because I knew I wasn't high enough level to move on from the area I was in. And I did eventually kind of just stop playing, but I did love it. I really enjoyed it and was super into it, but I couldn't do it for that long.
Oh, no. Which, again, and that's the thing. I know I can't MMO for those reasons. At the same time, I'm almost opposite when it comes to RTSs. Because playing like Total Annihilation or Supreme Commander or any of those, I need to play like World of Goo. Or is that the name of it? No, Grey Goo. Yeah. But I'm usually the one who will build a base up into the point where it's impregnable. And I can take on any waves of things and build massive, huge units that I can then just walk across the map and destroy everything. I was a person in StarCraft who would play Terrans and just do siege tank creeps to take out the map. Or 6 or 7 siege tanks and go into siege mode with 4, take the other 4, move them up a little further, turn them into siege mode, take the other ones down, and just walk forward, taking out lines of anything with a bunch of Goliaths behind them as air support, anti-air support. And just destroy maps that way, right? I was that terrible player. And so, yeah, thank you, Earth, that's true.
Asshole.
That's what nieces are for. Them grind for you. I always told the story about our brother-in-law teaching them
Here,
to...
go fight some Pokemon.
Well, teaching them to grind in WoW for him, where they would do all the fishing quests, the mining quests, and stuff like that for him.
That's genius.
And I
you
told this-
literally gave birth to little minions.
And he took advantage of it.
Oh, that's genius.
Until the day they figured out the auction house.
Oh.
And his gold, and the holiday train set. And when he thought his account got hacked, because he came in and all his gold was gone. Until his daughter, my niece, said, "Daddy, look what I got." Opened up a bag and you see the full train set. And him going, "Oh, guess what time it is? It's time for you to get your own account." And thus how my eldest niece got her first WoW account.
That's tragic.
That's beautiful.
Oh, man.
It's when
I'd be hurting.
When learning happens to a point you didn't expect.
Oh.
You weren't supposed to understand that aspect of the game yet.
Yikes.
Dang it. It's still one of my favorite
It's a
stories
nice trade.
he ever told. Well, he
Game's
couldn't
value.
he couldn't hate her for it because she earned half of everything.
That's true.
Anyhow, that's one of my favorite stories. So that was good fun. Anyhow, okay, back to what this whole Christmas season is going on this year. For those who don't know, by the way, all of the various digital sites are having sales right now. Hey, update your wish list. If you maybe don't have time to get your friends or family a new gift shipped in the mail, you know what you can do? You can get them digital codes for games online. And I think you can even do it for consoles, but you can definitely do it on the PC, both in Steam, Good Old Gaming, you name it. You can find someone's Humble Bundle, all those sites. You can find all kinds of things to buy gifts for, and they're cheap right now. So if you haven't, update your wish list and share it with friends. But on the lines of gaming and such, what was I going to do with that one? Games I've been playing, as you're playing now, and it reminds me. Because like I said, this is going to be like a long dysfunctional deviation versus actual content that's going to be glorious and such. Although, do want to yank those two into it at some point.
Yeah, we will.
Okay.
And we scarfed our food so we can switch out.
Oh, an opportunity for me to eat and let others talk. Weird.
Yeah.
That could happen.
Depending on what you want.
Well, I'm going to go get food.
You
You
go.
discuss certain painful movies we've seen.
Well, I wanted them to be around to try to defend their actions. But
I know they are. Oh, we can. I can run to the restroom and then.
okay, good. as Akko peeks around like, But so yes, we also down here. So again, Pokemon Go we've been playing. My games on devices, and as Ken messages in and says, "Yes, I won't be on the show today." 3 minutes ago, because he's doing the
thanks,
family
Ken.
thing, which is what I expected him to do, and I'm totally cool with. So I expected that to be the case. Sorry, just smelling food. And that's fine. So we knew he wasn't going to make it because he is in Geneva doing family things, which is awesome. And so, what I was going to say about gaming-wise, I've been playing Pokemon Go a lot lately, which I've really enjoyed. Also have been playing some still Animal Crossing, which is Animal Crossing is one of those games that to me is barely a game because it's more about just do the same repetitive actions over and over. It's basically grinding. And because the friend aspect of it isn't really co-op so much as like go look at your friend's camp and give them kudos, and every once in a while hit the button that says I'll help you open up your mine, which I'm really good at, by the way, and why doesn't anybody else do it? I try to lend a hand every time I see an option to when I play the game.
You're a good man.
So many people don't because I've yet to ever get enough 5 people to respond, and I've even added random guests, random friends, like, Japanese ones, because your name's what? Kanji. Okay. And still have not gotten more than 3 people to lend a hand. out
That's
of like the
frustrating.
10 people on my list.
One of my friend's methods for that is she will go through her entire friends list because it resets for us about 11 p.m. for the new day.
Ah, okay.
So before 11 p.m. or right after 11 p.m. because it's before we're all asleep. Anyway, she'll go through and request everyone for the new day, then go to sleep. So when she wakes up in the morning, she's more likely to have.
Well, and I was doing it like as soon as before we'd go to bed this weekend, kind of before everyone would finally go to their rooms, and get, so 3, 4 in the morning kind of thing. And still I get 2. I don't know. Anyhow, so I'm still playing Animal Crossing, but it's more of a kind of, like I say, toilet time type game where you're just going to sit there like, I will do repetitive tasks. All right, that's good. And on to the next thing. And the game that I've actually really been enjoying for the most part, which is, what is this one? It's Fate Heroes. It's the...
Fire Emblem.
Or no, thank you, Fire Emblem Heroes, which I've enjoyed because it's actually a game. It's where so many mobile... I don't know how to describe them, but there's so many mobile games that are essentially, in my mind, just management things, spreadsheet games. They're ones where you do, again, the same repetitive action to kind of slowly build your whatever. But there's no real gameplay in it. Some, when they're actually multiplayer, like send armies against other stuff, like have that element, which is cool. Which is the other one you've been playing, which is what, the Final Fantasy one?
Final Fantasy New Empire.
That one
It's
actually
it's
has...
empire building.
It's empire building, and there's that fight, it's Clash of Clans, all those kind of games that have those. That at least have a combat aspect to it beyond just building up your own resources.
Yeah, it's
As
a
Akko
frustration
saying-
simulator.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Whereas with the
exactly what it
Fire
is.
Emblem one, for anyone who's played Fire Emblem games, it is a turn-based strategy game where it's taking your heroes and units and then pitting them against other ones to actually do combat. And that's what this is in a mobile sense. You're actually doing the turn-based combat, which makes me happy because now you're playing a game. It's not just, oh, let me level up my thing for today. Did I do hit all the buttons, all the little bobbles? I did. All right, time to go away.
I mean, that's what I do in Final Fantasy because now everything takes like a full day to build or more than a day.
And that's what they eventually do. All the other kind of management games, they get you hooked in because everything normally completes in a matter of seconds to minutes to eventually hours to eventually days and who knows how far off. Because they're also trying to incentivize you to buy things because most of them being free to play, they want you to pay for things that reduce your time sink. No, you want this done now. Buy these baubles that you spend and suddenly whatever it is you're building is completed instantly. Those kind of mechanics do generate actual income coming in beyond just ads. This game, it has that, but I have not seen for the moment a reason to want to do that. And Akka, you've played more than I have. Have you bought any money into the Fire Emblem one?
No.
Yeah, I don't feel
He
the
said
need.
no.
It's just basically more chances to sell.
It's just stuff that gives you more opportunities to do things that you can basically get in the game for free, which I like. And admittedly, this one has a friend aspect to it, and they mostly do. Animal Crossing has a little more so where there is a closer benefit to having friends you really know in the game and tied to your account. This one, it gives you some bonus where it gives you additional resource for every friend that you have, I think. But that's kind of it. It doesn't really have a real force you into the game and play thing. But that's probably been one of my favorite mobile games I've been playing right now, which has been a lot of fun. And I'd say that's kind of all I've been gaming lately, because I also haven't sat down and played games. Although, announcement for others who are on the VTW Gaming Facebook page, Star Citizen 3.0 is out. Hey everybody, the infinitely beta Star Citizen. Their big, wide open world edition, where you can now fly to planets, land on them, and do things, and run around, and basically expanding what the first instance of what the persistent universe will be like for Star Citizen, if and whenever it finally comes out, is live. And the VTW clan is trying to jump on that and be a part. If I weren't away from the desktop PC, that's what I would likely be doing. So, get into VTW Gaming and check out all the links and information that's been posted about Star Citizen, because I know El Campo and like Mike and a bunch of other people we know and other groups that we're aware of have been jumping into or really playing a lot of that in the near term. So, you guys should check that out. Oh, and I'm hearing that from Earth that says, and it's buggy as hell.
Oh no.
Not overly surprised, although one of the things I will send out there, oh no, just ask Mike, I'm very curious. Please, people, email into the show. I need to know your experiences, what it's been like on 3.0 since I haven't played yet. But one of the things I knew about old Star Citizen Engine and things that were happening is there are ways to go and do some tweaks to the INI, yay PC, to be able to get your experience better. And I've had to do it for every version of it, where even though they're now on the new engine, the Amazon version of the Crisis Engine. Oh, I forget the name of it. Lighthouse? Something? I forget what it is. Lumberyard, that one. Now that they're doing that, there still probably needs the exact same tweaks where it's things you can adjust in how it does memory and textures and stuff that'll actually make the gameplay pretty smooth. So look at those. And I think Reddit has a great article that we posted in the VTW Gaming that if you are getting into Star Citizen, check that out to how to optimize your experience. It'll make huge dividends. It'll pay well. All right, so check that out. Get out there. We want the VTW Star Citizen group to be amazing. Beyond that, all right. Back to those. That's the gaming we've been playing. Also, for the holiday season, one of the beautiful things that people get to share, as hopefully to sneak the other two in here, is things like holiday movies and traditions, and some movies are more so. We talked about previously some of the experiences we've had with Zenko Akko and how they like to share with us different
Emotional trauma.
stories through different media. One of the ones we really enjoyed was the fall video, or the fall movie they showed us, which is Over the Garden Wall.
That's really good.
It's a really great story. Still based on trauma and potentially emotional heartache when you understand what's happening, as I see a smirk over there. But one of the less...
Friendship and rainbows.
Life is friendship and rainbows, and you like giggling when that doesn't happen.
It is one of the less in-your-face traumatic storylines that they've introduced us to.
Really good and highly recommend, not to deter anyone from watching it. Please
do. Yeah, it's great. And it was a Cartoon Network show that was brought out. It's really good. We've also experienced some things like Your Name that I mentioned of, and how that can affect people. To what was the one we saw in the theater? The equivalent, it was Your Name, and what's the other one? It was
Silent Voice.
Silent Voice, which is also all great stories. It's just the experience of getting through it. So this time, we had a late movie night last night, essentially going through. And where is your beautiful wife? Because I want you guys to be in on this to defend yourselves.
I'll cycle out so there's room.
I will move this back a little bit so that people can gather around the tree, if you will. Let's see. I double check so that the music doesn't run out on me as I'm doing this. We got time. Good. So we definitely wanted to bring up like what we got to watch last night, which was
one?
Completely in order of pain and what we experienced. So
I was going to say
first thing,
Christmas hobo night.
yeah, we had a theme last night, which was unbeknownst to us initially, but yes, Christmas hobo night.
It didn't occur to me until we started watching the second movie, and I was like, I'm noticing a surprising number of similarities going on here.
It's like, oh look, everybody's homeless. How's this work? But in this one, so we started out with a movie that we've been told several times we need to watch is a good Christmas movie,
We considered it a Christmas movie.
which is Tokyo Godfather.
Tokyo Godfathers.
Godfathers, sorry. Yes, Godfathers.
There's three of them.
I don't believe Hyde or I had ever seen it. Neither of us had seen it. And so we didn't know at all what we were getting into. Other than this was a highly recommended movie from our friends Zenko Akko, which we have enjoyed every movie they've shown us, every series they've shown us.
We find the good stuff.
Some of it is admittedly off the beaten path from what is often considered mainstream, but in doing so, it has a certain richness.
Those are the best.
They are very good. So Tokyo Godfathers does take place, as the name would imply, in Tokyo. Mm-hmm. And it is around the Christmas season. Mm-hmm. Thus, like Die Hard, a Christmas movie.
It basically goes from Christmas to New Year's. It is
through that whole week and a half, 2 week period, or whatever, yes.
It's just that week.
Basically a wild ride.
Yeah. So it starts out, I won't say tame, but it starts out in a way that is more of a... I often will bring up the things of like Day in the Lives, although this is kind of and Akko, you brought up really well, of kind of discussing or showing a side of Japanese culture that anyone who understands Japanese culture is very much ignored. Which is what Japanese culture does with things that they don't approve of, that aren't mainstream, that aren't
part of the popular culture. Instead of going and being truly negative about it, like actively trying to destroy, fight, or make a big deal of it, Japanese tend to just ignore as though literally it does not exist. Things that aren't a big part of the culture.
And it is interesting, even like in the behind the scenes of the movie, which we didn't watch last night, but in some
God, no.
interviews,
Sorry.
We should show you the special features.
yeah, we'll show you the special features sometime. But what was interesting was even like when they were bringing up the movie to the people they were going to be having do the voices. Everybody was talking about their initial reactions to it, being like, "Oh, why would you have a movie about homeless people? Why would those?
And why would they be a hero?"
Yeah, how would this work?" And then the voice actors actually really getting into it once they saw the backstories of the characters and understood more about it, and then ended up really enjoying working on it. But it was this first wall that pops up as why would you do this? But Satoshi Kon is the director, and he is definitely known for basically in his films and even TV series broaching topics that are usually ignored or brushed under the rug in very interesting ways.
Satoshi Kon is one of the legendary directors in Japanese animation, who I think he's since passed away. He's definitely known for addressing more like human conditions, general kind of psychological, societal issues with a heavy dose of surrealism. Tokyo Godfathers is the least surreal of his movies, and maybe others have heard of other titles that he's done: Paprika, Perfect Blue. Incidentally, if you've watched Black Swan is a straight-up rip of Perfect Blue without a proper citation.
Apparently there's a few anime out there kind of like that. Shows or other themes. Like
Still makes me a little bitter about that one, but
everything that's not dot hack.
If you've seen Black Swan, you've seen the plot of Perfect Blue.
Sword Art Online is literally dot hack down to the character designs, okay?
Yes.
And still it is quite good. But
Hack was the first.
Yes. I have some feelings on the matter. I felt the need to verbalize for anyone to be listening.
I may have just threw that one out there.
That was
Trying to eat.
a lore one.
Yeah, a little bit.
So that was the first one.
So Tokyo Godfathers, it highlights essentially three homeless characters as the main ones in it, and an experience they run into during the Christmas season, where initially it goes into kind of how they live life, their daily interactions. They get a wrinkle in their daily life by running into it. I guess it's not a huge spoiler to say that they find basically an abandoned child in the trash. An infant, like truly not newborn, but very young, still swaddled, still needs to be fed milk, that kind of thing. And which is another thing we talk about, is another not Japanese thing you don't talk about. No, people don't abandon kids. That would never happen. No. And so this whole movie takes on like several of these big social things that are just not accepted in Japanese culture.
And it's not just all dark and heavy. A lot of it starts getting to be a wild ride. So ups and downs. It's definitely a roller coaster.
Well, and it starts out with
madness.
It's kind of the cuteness and understanding that these three characters and how they interact and how society sees them, which is actually one of the more brilliant parts of it. Is it gives a really good vision of Tokyo and Japan and things like that, because the city streets and all this stuff, which even it was mentioned to your parents when seeing the street corner, and I've said this multiple times, when they have the parabolic mirrors up, and how people are like, how do I always say it? It's a real thing.
Yeah.
Every street corner has them because it's how you see and not run into people.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because they will also show all of the familiar scenes of Tokyo. There's Tokyo Tower that I have been to several times, and is it the business building or the TV tower?
The financial
building. It's like this double-spired sort of thing. And so these are all things that people recognize. And even if you've only visited Tokyo, like even for Japanese people, if they've only visited Tokyo, they will recognize these things. And showing that the homeless people are not just on the outskirts of a city or in this small town or something like that. They are in the city right next to where
famous
everything else
landmarks
is
and-
happening. Like it's right
Well,
in
and
the
you
middle
said-
of those things.
You said the park that they were in fact, that you see the towers behind or something is like this park or something,
Yep.
which they absolutely have a homeless town in.
Right.
And
So
it's-
it really demonstrates to people and brings it home that the homeless really are there. And then it's zooming in and seeing they're homeless, but showing their humanity of their backstory, how they got there, whether it was their fault, somebody else's fault, what they regret and wish that they could go back to, what they can't apologize for, and there's so much that you see of their wants and desires that ended up in some ways causing them to fall into this situation because of who they are or who they wish that they could have been as well.
Yeah. No, it does a good job talking about circumstances and real life things that happened that got them to be where they were.
And some of that brings a level of compassion for the baby because of, if they were themselves abandoned or wanted to take care of a daughter or that sort of thing, or even seeing oneself in the baby as the child
Oh, gosh,
that's
yeah.
gone from
And-
the family. And being able to, once they had this chance to focus on something helpless and innocent, how much they could pour themselves into that this baby and each other became the most important thing, and their entire lives revolved around it during that week, and the gift
It's a
that
wild
baby
ride.
is, because
So everything that Zenko's explaining about the movie is like the first half. Or more than first half. It's like 3/4 of the movie.
No, it goes
that really
through to
builds
the
character
very
development
end.
and depth. Oh, it continues through. But in doing so, you almost get this level of like, okay, I understand their story, right? And they're trying, and it is initially this is a lovely opportunity for us to experience a child that would otherwise never exist.
Right.
In their little pseudo family structure that the three main characters have together. And then
really funky little family.
it is, but you feel it. You
It's
feel
good.
that there's a
They
connection.
really care about each other, even when they're like
Hating and fighting and
wobbling and wrestling amongst the
And-
piles of trash.
But they make it a mission upon themselves to eventually return the baby to its rightful place, to its mother and that kind of thing. And so then it becomes a bit of a adventure for them as well.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because they're homeless. They have very little to no resource. And so it also kind of explores how they get through their days and their lives and travel to do what they're trying to do.
And especially traveling across Tokyo, because Tokyo is enormous, and they have to go to a completely different part of Tokyo in order to try to find this baby's family, in order to return the baby.
And it's not an easy stroll because it's in the winter, it's snowing out, it's cold. The whole time it's cold, and you see them kind of
People
how they're
don't want
dealing
them
with
on
it.
the train because they're
Gosh.
homeless and they smell.
Yeah, the
and
scene, and they
nobody's
go into
subtle
that.
about it.
They go into that. Well, yeah, Japanese culture, right? They're on the train, and you kind of see where it pans from the regular commuters, all kind of with disgusted faces on them, and looking kind of back over the shoulders,
and
like
holding
why?
handkerchiefs
And-
over their noses.
and really hating the experience. And it finally gets to them, and there's a pocket around them where the three of them are just kind of there, and they know. It's not like they're oblivious to the fact that they stink or that others don't want them there. But for them, they're doing what they must in order to accomplish this mission, because otherwise they don't want to be a part of that. They're not trying to make themselves a burden on anyone else. And so it's really interesting to see how like the societal interaction is in the movie. All right, we'll get to the kind of the core of where this is leading, in that Tokyo Godfather's Wild Ride. As it starts to culminate in plot and things start to be accomplished in the storyline, mishaps occur as well. And so some things kind of happen where it's probably, I would say, masterful about how the direction and storytelling goes to cause such emotion, unlike recent Star Wars movies. And
Additional commentary brought to you.
It's a series of fortunate and unfortunate events.
yes, that start to cascade, essentially. And right when they start to do it, it gives you elements from an unfortunate interaction with one of them and regular society again, where people who look at them as being useless, meaningless, and no value, causing violence, to each of them kind of having to go through their own little backstories a little more, which really endears you unless you understand why they got there. But once that happens, things start to just, I won't say spiral out of control, but it does. And like,
Yes.
again, cascade, because it just is like a snowball effect of events like, holy cow, oh my God, what is this really kind of things happening.
Well, like Akko said, fortunate and unfortunate events. There is a lot of interplay between both of those. And there's a continuing line in the movie of God really loves this baby.
Yeah,
and
touched by
so many things that are very fortunate and lucky, even through the bad things, and
Yeah.
are able to just bring it together
So,
by the end.
so the challenge is it goes to a point where initially the movie's like a little over the top and a little silly with what's happening because just the characters and general story.
Yeah.
Once it all starts going, it goes to beyond reason and not the movie I thought we were watching. And I felt especially,
Betrayed.
I was going to say touched, I don't know,
No, betrayed is a good word.
by the experience, because as they've done this to Hyde and I multiple times, it's a good story. It really is. But when it starts catching up and going,
Like the butt.
the the emotional roller coaster it takes you on, because, and this one even more so than some, because of how much, what do I want to say, like real value to the characters grows, so that you get a good emotional connection to them, and you really have some understanding, and you now care about all of them
Yeah.
and their association, their group, so that when the events start happening in the plot that go crazy, you're just like, whoa, what? No,
This
no, you
train
can't
has
do
lost its
that.
brakes.
And it is like going down the most blind curved canyon without brakes, and just it is ridiculous. And in a similar way to some other movies we've seen, it really pushes you to the edges of what could happen to these characters and not be comfortable. And it really does. And I was suffering. Like, thinking about it again, it still hurts. And I especially felt bad because I was engrossed. For this is one of the few times where I wasn't even looking to see how the rest of y'all were reacting. I just knew because Hyde was in my periphery. I felt like I was the only one being affected by the movie. Because I know these two had seen it, and I thought they were probably just giving glee.
I had forgotten quite a bit of how it all happened.
This is true. We haven't seen this in years.
Yeah.
Well, that's appreciative. But I even felt bad because I was like, Hyde held it together way better than I did.
I was screaming on the inside.
But because of that, as I started to flail and give like evil side glances and make noises and scream out and things, I was the only one. And it made me feel even worse.
Don't feel worse about it.
To the point that when it was all finished, I had to then turn around and bottle all those emotions back up so as not to cause violence to these two.
However, on the other hand, I did carefully move my little TV tray aside that had my tea on it, and carefully, set aside the pillow that I was holding, and picked me up so that she could, got me off the couch.
Asked for your hands.
Yeah, gently asked for my hands, got me up so that she could throw me down on the couch again.
Yeah.
That's how that feels.
Oh no, I had to go sit in another room for a little while. I had to go process. It really, really.
You can come talk it out.
I wasn't there for a while.
I know.
No. Because it was really good. And it really hurt. So it's one of those ones, again, I'll recommend to everybody. I think one of the comments I got when I posted, like, I'm emotionally compromised. In a good way? Question mark.
Yeah.
Was when someone else said, oh yeah, it's a good movie, and someone say, oh, so I think it was Cameron said, like, so, Grave of the Fireflies next? And so,
Hey,
It's-
it wasn't
it's
a
not-
tragedy.
no, admittedly, this one, unlike some others, leaves you on a happy note at the end.
It's a Christmas miracle.
But, but it's another one of those, like, that takes you on such a cascading, oh my god, down, that little tidbit at the end up is like, I'm just above water. I can breathe again.
I
And that's it. It
thought
doesn't
it was
fully pull you out until a point where you're now on the beach sunning and enjoying yourself. It's more just a.
it gives you all the information you need to know of all of the happy ending. Okay, so I will
You can infer a lot.
I will note that particularly with the last couple of movies, Your Name and Tokyo Godfathers, that I have noticed a trend. That these
Trying to emotionally scar your friends. As
no,
deeply
no,
as
no, no.
possible. I'm sorry,
That
go,
these
go, go.
two seem to prefer or better enjoy or appreciate things that have a little bit more complete endings rather than giving a hint as to what happens
Yes.
from henceforth.
Yes, we want to know it's going to be a good place after this.
Instead of
We've
so
been hurt so many times. We just need the proof. It's okay.
Yes, because
So-
it could go bad again.
So there are subtle endings to some movies that Akko and I will enjoy that I have increasingly
completely miss.
noticed that feels
They want the Cinderella
lacking
story.
or wanting for the other two here in the party.
They like the nice gift wrapped bow, present handed to you. Everything is.
What's
perfect.
wrong with happiness?
They like to see the wedding at the end instead of the implication of future.
So yes, and with this, I'm going to take a break so I can breathe and maybe put actual food in my mouth for a moment.
Yes.
Going to play our traditional PodSafe Christmas music in the break. Thank you. What is this one officially? Is this one Jonathan Colton? What? What?
Grabbed my foot.
I was like, what happened? So, pretty sure it's Jonathan Colton that I'm bringing in, which is, let's see. Yep, Jonathan Colton, PodSafe Christmas. So we'll put in that song and then come back. So it's only about 2.5 minutes. We'll talk about the other movie we watched. Different experience, different kind of ride. And we'll get into this. So with that, you're listening to Show X on b2wproductions.com. Merry Christmas, everybody. I hope you are having wonderful times with all your family and friends. And we will be back right after this, as I now have to find all the buttons and hit all the things. Okay, here we go.
that
I
are
want
more
more
surreal.
on Paranoia Agent, though.
Yeah,
that
probably
one I
better
think we'll
to
show last
finish.
because that is a series, but it's also the most surreal.
Ah.
cozy.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the show. All right. So, on a much lighter note, we then got to go back in time
Yeah,
after watching Tokyo Godfathers, and we got to enjoy another movie,
it's called Pocket Full of Miracles.
which is made in 1960.
1961, which was a little bit later than my mom and I thought. But
Who
takes
thought we were taking you guys back to black and white? What are you talking about?
and that one takes place in let's see, it covers it takes place in New York and is during the time it starts off during Prohibition.
And goes over the repeal.
Yeah, it goes over the repeal. So it has some of that overlap in there. And is written by, I'm blanking on his name now, Frank something, who apparently specializes in, what?
Damon Runyon.
Just kidding, Damon Runyon. Frank was somebody else. It's Damon Runyon, who specializes in stories about soft-hearted gangsters, which was certainly what this one was about, and includes such fabulous people as Glenn Ford and Betty Davis and Peter Falk,
A young Peter.
A
young Peter Falk.
And probably one of the best roles.
where you can actually see his
I've-
glass eye, so he keeps going cross-eyed because, you know.
But one of like the best roles I've ever seen Peter Falk in, and one of the best characters in the show. I've ever
I
had.
love him. So
The voice of reason in a mad, mad world.
So this was a movie that is much more. Okay, from the get-go, it's an old classic movie. It's another Christmas type, holiday type movie, and it's one that really is okay. Where we said the emotion and fun of Tokyo Godfathers, where it's like really in depth and like holy cow, and it drags you like this. This was just fun.
this one was more fairy tale.
It's more Mr. Toad's Wild Ride than
But this one was
a roller
Well, what
coaster.
this one was one of those cascading events again, but was almost humor throughout the entire experience. And so it spends just enough time to set already a surreal world where the people involved with it, you know, being a bootlegger in the Prohibition time frame, but not like a mean evil one, but yet still a gangster, right? There's kind of that kind of soft, like you said, soft gangster.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of fun, and the people are somewhat endeared to the characters already, the people that interact, and so everyone's kind of good people already as this counterculture slightly aside from society group. And then it just gets into very actually a heartfelt kind of, I don't even know how to say it. It's a pauper to prince kind of story where they're trying to help out one of the members of the group. In this case, Apple Annie, who is a beggar who is kind of like queen of the beggars.
Yeah,
in the area.
basically. So she ends up basically like running. She's sort of like the boss of the beggars on Broadway, but they all want to, and they pay her a small amount of what they get, and some of them are selling. So she sells apples, somebody else sells flowers. There's various things like that too, but they pay a portion of what they make to Apple Annie, and you
'Cause it's
slowly
her area.
Yeah, it's
Her
her area. You slowly realize that that's all going towards. Well, I don't know if I should.
Why not?
Okay. It's
this-
going towards something.
The basic story of it, and this is an old movie, so slight spoiler, but please watch it regardless.
Yeah,
Is
it's
that
still set up.
Annie has a daughter who is overseas away from New York, who
Living in Spain.
living in Spain, and it's someone that she corresponds with regularly through the mail. And to endear herself to her daughter, she basically has built up a fanciful appearance of who she is. She writes these big, over-exaggerated stories about how wonderful a life she's living, essentially making it out that Annie is opposite who she is in real life, where she is not a beggar, but instead almost like royalty in New York. Part of the upper class and
Yeah,
rich
upper class.
and things like that.
Permanent resident of a hotel, Mrs. E. Worthington Manville, and you know, giving a reception for Lord Ferncliff, whose name she gets out of
Vanity Fair.
Fair magazine, just to look up who's big right now, and has built up this entire fantasy of who she is, so that her daughter wouldn't be
Wouldn't feel
ashamed
bad
of her.
but yeah, exactly. And the conflict comes in that her daughter says she's going to get married or has found a suitable suitor, someone she's in love with, who is a very high up, basically, what is he, a
He's the son of a count.
Yeah,
a
so
Spanish
he's,
count.
He's within the royalty in Spain. And she's super excited for it until the letter that says, and I'm going to come home to visit, and we're going to introduce them to you,
Yeah.
which causes conflict. Now, to set the stage where it's not just this crazy hobo story, although that's a big portion of it, one of the things that Annie provides in this network of things is that the very successful bootlegger, Dave
Dave the Dude, played by Glenn Ford.
which very well done as well, has taken to Annie because she sells apples, and for him, he has made it a thing where anytime he's had one of her apples, he's been very lucky and fortunate in all the dealings he does. And to the point where it's become a crutch. He will not do business dealings without having one of Annie's apples. And so when she learns of the daughter coming back, her world's kind of turned upside down. And so she's no longer available really to provide him these apples. So he now takes the mission to like, wait, I need my apples to do other things I need to do. So I need to help out Annie. And it goes into this whole circus of ways he's trying to now provide and help Annie for when her daughter comes.
Yeah, so basically making all of the fairy tale story that she has been writing about all these years become reality. So it's having a place at the Marbury Hotel. It is having a husband that she doesn't have, stepfather. It is being able to
It's the socialite,
throw
the
these
lifestyle.
receptions and go
Yeah.
places and look the part.
And so in this,
and she can act the part. It's all the fantasy. she's
it's
been
great.
living through.
And so the beauty of this movie is it is an older one. There aren't anybody in it that you would really dislike.
Now you love everybody.
Instead, it's more of it's a joyous movie about specific characters that you end up loving more than other characters.
Right. The butler is a big
Fantastic.
favorite.
Well, between the butler, they all have reasons you will enjoy all of
yeah.
them. But the butler's especially adorable. And
And they're all so expressive, but not overblown. And every line is quotable. There are
There
so
are
many
so many
lines
good
that I
ones.
say so much.
it's great to finally have the reference for where some of these come from,
Yeah.
not realizing they were quotes.
Yeah, so even, the whole Cinderella thing, and Apple Annie finally comes out, and Junior, one of the characters, who's also the chauffeur and the bodyguard and these various things, and he says, she's like a cockroach, what turned into a butterfly? And they're just all so good.
And it really is. This movie is feel good pretty much throughout. It's fun. It's lighthearted. It's endearing.
Still with the plot where there are some difficulties in it, so that you don't feel like it's not going anywhere.
Apparently, they got stressed out even by this.
So one of the beautiful parts is
Looking
because
at you.
the challenge of it all.
Listen.
It started with that. Well, you as well, because the difference in this movie is the cascading events. There was a character that Akko really appreciated, which was
I really
Peter Falk's
appreciate him, too.
character, and he's phenomenal. He has probably some of the best one lines in the entire movie. Because he's the straight man.
Yes.
Essentially, because the chaos is happening, and the main gangster, the main mobster, Dave the Dude, is falling into this trap of having to continue to help. Where, Peter Falk and what's his name in the show?
Joy Boy?
Joy Boy is kept trying to keep a pulse on things and say, "Hey, Dave, that's great that you want to help her, but we got to deal with this business stuff that's like could actually end our lives because that whole gangster mobster thing. We
That's
gotta
still
deal
all
with
our lives.
this, and we still got to do this because that's where our business is and all the job. Come on." And so
The
he's
voice of
constantly
reason.
watching like all these crazy things happening where Dave's trying to help Annie out, saying, "Yay! I don't want to get shot tomorrow. Can we do these other things?" And
If I'm still sober,
Yeah.
why am I seeing such things?
And so he has so many one-lines in there that is like all the chaos, and he's just pointing it out like for what it is.
Yeah.
It's like, well, yeah, that happened. Come on.
Yeah.
And so it's such a beautiful balance to the way the whole story goes. I know I was, speaking for myself, cackling throughout, just laughing raucously because so many scenes were just so ridiculous, but great. And so it was...
All ridiculous with this, like, heart behind it as well.
Yes,
That
it was very heartfelt.
You just really, I don't know. It is feel good in that, but not like just a fluffy. Like
No.
there's a lot of it's
Well, it's earned.
and it's earned is a good way to put it, and
It's
it's witty, and it has.
Yes, it's again good writing, knowing it's going to be comedic, knowing it's going to be funny, but not forcing it. It all just was very natural. It flows together. They let the whole story and scene kind of work together in it. Again, it's like classic great writing. Again, not like a current movie that just came out, and it is so solid that I can really just openly recommend for everyone. If you've not seen it, just go. It is such a
Christmas
great movie. And it really is a Christmas movie in that sense. Even though it's not focused on kind of the whole Christmas season, it's a good heartfelt movie around it and how friendship can grow and just, I don't know. It was a good time.
Yeah.
The kind of hint that Akko was having there about how this one still grabbed both Hyde and I to a degree is that this one, at the end, when all the things come together and it's all happened and we're finished with everything, it is nice. We're in a good place. Things are wonderful. However, as Zenko was kind of saying, or hinted at with something we like in movies, is it maybe didn't feel as complete and tie a bow on the story as it could have been. It got to a point where things are good and then just kind of roll credits. The end. They could have maybe spent another 2-3 minutes on scenes to say, and also this is happening and so it will be good. Because there were still
They wanted to see a couple weddings and
just a business deal made, maybe a wedding or two.
I want to see them to make sure they don't get shot.
Just to ensure that things don't actually go south after everything finally happens.
everything's
That just
fine.
means you're a negative person. You're just assuming the worst of the situations.
They lead you to so much potential bad.
It's just because you're used to
Well, as
other
well as-
things that
I
we
was
introduce
not
her
the only one
to.
being stressed out by the movie. We looked down at you and had to pet you many times.
Yes, because for you it was why is he the only voice of reason? Why can't anyone else see why this chaos is bad? There was a plan.
Akko
What
feels-
happened to the plan?
Akko feels very close to Joy Boy, trying to keep things on track, and which I find amusing since I have always greatly admired Joy Boy. So
Oh, it's almost like a good thing.
discovering
you two are
that
married.
I married Joy Boy,
Minus the gangster.
minus the gangster. That's
But
probably a little
ever put him
really
in a
big.
long trench coat and you could see it.
Yeah.
Also
Or even
true.
when he's wearing a tux and still has his brown fedora on, like the same crumpled one that he's had the entire time.
Oh no,
Fabulous.
so good, so good. So that was a much lighter, happier, really fun experience. It was great. Definitely a recommend from me for everybody out there. So yeah, that's been what's been going on with the Christmas weekend that we're having in Albuquerque this weekend, which has been a ton of fun. Today we have additional Christmas celebration with family and folks later on, as well as, like I said, the Luminaries tour, which I can't wait. Yeah. That should be a blast.
And
I-
lots more New Mexican food.
Yes. Oh, this is such a good place to break diet. Although at the same time, I'm going to have to purge and work out and run all the rest of this next week to get ready for New Year's, because that's going to be more of it. And the tux I bought was based on me being much lighter than I am right now.
I
we'll
should
see how
be
that
fine.
works.
I still haven't sewn my dress together yet.
Or my tux.
I can.
Tux? What tux? So, part of me, knowing
Part for them.
knowing that I don't have a large live viewership right now, but I appreciate those who have joined and are listening, watching in as we're going. I'm trying to decide because I think it would make a good show if I did, but I don't know if I want to skip ahead, essentially. I almost want to present you guys the gifts I have for tomorrow today to make you open on air.
That could be interesting.
But
Hide first.
My challenge with it is it takes away from the magic of having gifts for you to give and receive on Christmas Day. Grr. The traditionalist in me is like, no, gotta wait for Christmas. Gotta have presents to open on Christmas. Because
It's Christmas Eve.
away from things, but it's not Christmas Day.
Yeah, I know. Well, what do you think? Unless you can get votes from listeners.
Yeah,
If
from
anybody feels
Babs,
like
essentially the only people that are still stuck in. No, I will hold off.
okay,
Because
The magic
it
of
will be-
Christmas will
yes,
wait.
I will enjoy it tomorrow, Bobby Bublé and all. That's fine. I just, in a
And
way,
then-
it would be nice. but
and then
no.
next show you can talk about.
Yeah, no, I'll talk about all the gifts and things that have come out. I did have potential because honestly, I could end the show now. It doesn't matter. We can do whatever. But I was going to look that I had grabbed some potential topics based on what just came up in news recently. I don't know if any of it really matters. I guess one that I could bring up because you're here
This one?
is this news one. Yes.
Which news?
This is news because we talk about Makerspace and the Guild Hall and things that we're trying to do.
Sort of
Oh,
that.
wah. Really? Go away.
Yeah, Forbes.
I
It's
know.
obnoxious.
We have ads and you
Technical
shut.
difficulties
You're such a...
of just
But-
browsing the internet.
Well, okay. It's how many sites say we live by ads, and so you having an ad blocker up means we're not going to let you in.
Oh, I see.
Thank you for turning off your ad blocker. Yeah, bite me. Wouldn't it be so bad if they didn't have such invasive things?
Well,
All right.
well.
So, article that I thought Akka would appreciate is that one of the companies that's been out there for a while talking about some things, Desktop Metal, has begun shipping its metal 3D printers for the office.
Ooh.
And so this is something I talked about ways back when they were first bringing it up, but Massachusetts-based metal 3D printing startup Desktop Metal announced Monday that it is now shipping its printers to customers in its, quote, Pioneer program. These first printers from its studio system, which allows in-office printing of metal parts in a fast, effective manner. The first groups to receive a printer is Google's Advanced Technology and Products Group. Other customers include the U.S. Navy, Built Right Tool and Die, and Lumineem.
So it'll be curious what exactly how they do it, because I know there's high-end large format printers that they're using in the aerospace industry that basically fire the metal at super high speeds, so at that point they really just act like liquid.
This one, it's doing kind of a combination of almost an FDM, but it's more of the layered
So they just
layered
have
powder approach, where it binds a material that has in it primarily metal, that you then have to do a kiln, essentially an afterform that bakes out all the other material and leaves just the metal binding together. I believe is this technology's version, if I'm remembering correct.
Okay.
Because I want to say their system incorporates bringing both. So you get both the printer and you get the curing tool with it. And I forget
that's
what
good.
the cost is. I forget what the cost, but
Probably going to be, what, 10 at least?
50 and up.
Okay.
Initial systems. Because this is more for commercial and build.
Got it.
But I need to go back
I was
and
going to
look.
say, what's the size of it? Because I've seen
These
smaller
are-
metal ones at
so
10.
This is for the office, not desktop.
Fair.
And so it says, quote, in a world of printing, you've never been able to get metal parts where you work. No other machine in the world can print metal in the office. This allows engineers to print, do tooling, test parts, or design them next to their desk. See, next to, not on.
Fair.
And so part of it is like, was it Lumenium, a Virginia-based manufacturer that's working on new designs for combustion engines. For one particular part of their engine, the company worked with Desktop Metal's engineers to determine if there was a way to use its printers to streamline its industrial process. According to the company, using the printer allows them to produce parts over twice as fast and for less than 20% of the cost.
So while everyone's talking about aerospace and engineering, that actually represents some major threats to existing industries, including jewelry. Because if you can have relatively easily a startup where you can create metal works that people can use using, well, basically computer skills instead of high fine detail motor skills, that represents pretty major threats to a lot of established industries.
Oh yeah, no, it's something that, well, I've talked about often where we work around these in the talk that there's artistic endeavors, things where you need to have fine motor control, hands-on, the ability to create, visualize, and do all this. I can visualize to some degree, but actually making it with the hands, I can't do. But you can make computer software where I can keep tweaking and messing with it with my gross motor skills, but provide something that has high detail and high functionality that I can now put to a system that's able to bring it to life in that detailed, precise manner. It bridges my inability to do it with my own hands. Now, the cost may be up there, but now I can do something. And oh, by the way, once I can do it now in a digital machine-oriented fashion, I can reproduce it easier.
Oh,
Because
definitely.
I can just hit print again and print again.
And it's going to
print
be
again.
consistent and more cost effective.
Exactly.
Because instead of having to pay high skilled labor at a high hourly rate to do this, you're basically paying a function of your machines. It is possible for desktop,
Well, okay.
large desktop.
Yeah.
That's a big
desktop
desktop.
in the sense that it's a workspace table.
But essentially, and you see the curing machine on the side.
It's about the size of, well, two
A washing machine on top.
two scanners on top of each, or like scanner printers on top of each other.
Bigger than a large format laser printer. It's almost a small copier on the desk, let alone
Yeah.
the massive copier on the side for curing, because you need both elements.
You don't have a copier on your desk?
Not to that size. And so I want to see, because they have pricing sheet. Let's see,
Okay.
it's a PDF. Oh,
Nice,
okay, so we were
120.
wrong. So there's two sides of it. You can actually purchase a studio system, which basically costs $120,000 to get into. Does not surprise me for making a manufacturing level thing, right, for 3D printing. This is commercial. This is big. The other side of it is that it's hardware as a service, meaning you can pay up to, what is it, $4,000 a month if you do a 36-month process, or just under that $3,250 a month for 48-month. This is people who want to incorporate the technology into their already manufacturing line, so they're seeing it as
Although,
a service they're paying for.
Why would you do that? You just finance it. I'm pretty sure
It all depends on your model, right?
if you had the right
Well, if
model.
you need it short term, meaning maybe I only need this for the first 3 years because I'm doing all the preemptive production things and not the full, this is part of my regular everyday product line that I'll do continuously, I can see the lease type option or the pay as a service option. Because admittedly, 120 grand is not something you slough at. Someone building a new business where it's part of your integral process, that's what part of your business loan.
You'd get
And you
you'd get
do it.
investors and or a business loan, and that's the thing to do it. The key is just having a proper business model and convincing very traditional-minded people.
How this is going to actually turn around and create profit. Well, the other piece of that also, it's a, well, unless, anybody wants to invest in the mindset and concept of Guildhall Galatea, which would be an opportunity for you to help donate tools and materials to allow people to really expand their creativeness. You could almost make it like a charitable donation, though not to a charity, but a way that you can help enrich the community around Colorado. So if anybody wants to purchase and deliver a desktop metal printer to Guildhall Galatea, you're welcome to, in care of VTW Productions, and I will happily take in the order for them until the Guildhall is fully built. As an option.
Alternatively, very angel investors are recommended as well.
Sorry. But yeah. No, I want to bring this up because this is one of those companies that is actually pushing to make what had originally been a $500,000 to $1 million kind of investment to significantly drop it. And that's why I was saying like 10 times cheaper. Often this level of machining has only been available to high-end car manufacturers and things like that who are willing to invest more than $1 million in the hardware. So it's weird that, from a consumer level where I can build, I could buy a $1,500 3D printer to look at what would be, more than $1,000 or 1,000 times more, essentially, kind of printer, whatever, however much that goes to. Significant drop for big companies, still ridiculous for us. It's still more
What
than
kinds
2
of metals
cars or
does it
something.
do?
I'm pretty sure, and I'd have to, let's see if it has it in here. Materials.
There we
Ha-ha.
Because it's probably going to do this easy soft ones like gold and whatnot.
This goes beyond. No,
But
no,
it probably
this-
goes all the way to
this-
titanium
This
and,
this is good
and
stuff.
beyond.
So, the materials they label go from alloy steel, aluminum, and they have the very specific things. Carbide, which is huge. Copper, heavy alloy, low expansion. Let's see, super alloy, stainless steel, whole slew of those. Magnetics, high performance steel, titanium, tool steel, and others. And so, like, tool steel is especially important because the greatest steel lets you actually make workable tools. And so, yeah, basically this is designed through the powdering essence to do all of them, which is just really neat. Like,
So, again, it's a focus on, say, machining type things, but for other lower types of metal applications, I'm wondering...
oh, it's huge. The kind of, as I'm teasing over to, actually I should put this on the actual, I'll put this on the screen since we're talking about it for everyone else. There we go. And so that people can see what it is we're talking about. That it's neat because this is really industrial. I mean, it's designed to do things constantly. But it's using essentially the kind of thing, like I said, the powder base where it goes back through. Some of the things they do to make it very fast is it's bidirectional. And so it prints both directions. They put the whole carriage of printer where it lays down the material and prints both directions. So that's where it's much faster. So you actually see the build plate side isn't huge.
Yeah.
But it's able to build up the material in that way where it's actually doing, like, again, a layer of powder at a time. So I forget how, there it says 50 micron layer height.
Oh, that's pretty powerful.
Which is powerful, and it's one of the differences where people think because in FDM printing and regular traditional plastic printing, you can do equal layer height down to 50 micron. Mine will do that, but the difference is on ours, it's a pushing out of molten plastic, and so there's the elephant footing. It's that it's not precise in how it stays at a perfect even layer. Because of the way the powder comes out, it does that, and then what it does is it actually uses a laser to cure it, so the accuracy of each layer is far beyond what anything else can do. The other advantage of this type of printing methodology is because it is self-supported in the material it's printing in, because it keeps powder even where you're not activating it, and then heats it to cure it all together like that, is that as it builds up the whole print process, you can print multiple parts suspended in the powder themselves. And so you can do a whole production runs, as well as you can print things that have no supports in it and just constantly build up.
And your layer, each level of your product does not need to be the same. They can have variances.
You can stack whatever you want in there.
Right. So we have, what is it? That one shows 7 high. You could have 7 different variants of whatever tool in one run.
As well as printing those impossible tools that, as long as it has a gap to get the powder out before curing and baking it.
I see, and then that's what the next one's about.
Then you put
have to
in
cure
the
it.
other machine to actually, and what that does is I forget how it translates. It's some percentage bigger that you print because certain materials will actually reduce a little bit, but it's all calculated in. And then when you print it, you can print fully metal pieces.
Tortures the heck out of it.
Which, again, as you start thinking about the possibilities of that, lets your imagination go wild. And it's really nice, and there's almost no refining you have to do at that point. There's no finishing, which is beautiful. And they're talking about basically the ability to make it an actual production machine. Where other ones you might only be able to do 10 or 15 parts a day, they're talking about being able to do hundreds of parts a day through their production line. So this is all it's really exciting technology. And it talks to the whole point of 3D printing. And they're talking about how much cheaper and more
$4
efficient
a part. That's what
this
they're
can
talking
be,
about
depending on what you're producing.
for that.
And it's actually, and one of the things they're saying is where normally with these kind of printers, you would do it to get your really good mock-up, and then you would still outline it to another company to do the manufacturing. This one, you don't need to. You can do the manufacturing
Right there.
yourself, which is really a big deal about it. So I want to bring it up because I just think it's really neat tech. And I talk about all these different kind of makerspace things. This is beyond makerspace, right? This is
Is it though?
angel
Is it
invested
really?
makerspace.
Is it really?
Yeah, it is potentially there. Just like people are welcome to donate high-end embroidery and sewing machines for commercial use to allow others to do it in a non-commercial sense. There's all kinds of ways to do it, but there's that. So I thought you might appreciate that announcement that just came out. I know I'm a big fan of the concept and wish I had access to even playing with one of those kind of tools. It would be fun. Here's what. Some of these I want to save, but that's still a fun one. Actually, let's see. I'm going to bring this up. I don't think it's true. I have not been home to test it because I got this article as I was driving down kind of thing. Oh, hey, music change. That's all right. Officially, I am in this section, so it's okay. According to the International Business Time, there is a link, and I will post this one in the IRC, although I don't know if anyone's in there to actually utilize it, but you'll at least see it on the screen. Oh, hey, Kuro, you came in. How's it going, sir? Yeah, did I get one? If only. And Babs, you're bringing the kids up to speed on the Appleseed series. Awesome. Good job. But apparently they say, download and install Nintendo 3DS emulator on your iPhone and iPad. With it, it says the Nintendo 3D Emulator app, or simply 3DS EMU, is a closed source network that allows you to run Nintendo 3DS games on your iOS and Android, as well as Windows PC. Using this app guarantees a number of minor bugs and issues. Okay, but it should not hinder you from enjoying what this emulator app can offer. Among other things, Nintendo 3DS Emulator gives you access to paid Nintendo games for free. Now, that's not something we necessarily say condone, but I will say that if you have purchased the rights or license to play a game and have it in your possession, you can arguably use it to play it on other devices, although licenses are pretty distinct on how you can and can't use them. I bring this up mostly as a way to show off to the world that, hey, Apple has been really diligent about trying to kill anything that might cause or allow you to do emulation. It basically goes against their term of service for a lot of apps, and in the past, on Apple, you've had to do it through non-traditional means, like you embed an emulator in another application that's a normal application.
We've seen a few of those sneak through. I think I have one or two. Which will allow you to basically use it as a full emulator, because mobile devices are damn strong little computers. And if you can play emulation of old systems on a Raspberry Pi, you'll likely have the power to do it on your mobile phone. So this one, again, is 3DS EMU. They have in this article a link to download it. Now I caution, because I have not tried this out, but they talk about how you should be able to get in and actually install this app. Sometimes you have the ability, without jailbreaking, to manually install applications that don't go through the Apple Store. And so it may be through that method. So there is a caution there that I have not tested this app. I don't know if there's any potential malware in it. And I was hoping to basically check several other locations and means before recommending you absolutely go get it. But if you're curious and would kind of like to see what's going on with it, by all means, check it out. And so throwing that out to everybody. Cool? All right. So let's see. That says, yeah, there's various ways to install stuff. So you'd have to follow the article. It's from IBT, so ibtimes.sg, which again, I don't know if I trust. Just throwing it out there because I saw it and thought it's neat. And I'll have to check it out because I don't mind having... One of the challenges I always say is I don't play mobile games on like a 3DS or something. I don't have a Switch, don't have anything like that, because it's an additional tool I have to then choose to take with me to do mobile gaming, where I will game on my phone because I'll have that with me all the time. And so it would be wonderful to be able to play some of these great classic games and stuff with me at any time. Now, granted, control schemes are probably going to be terrible, but Bluetooth controllers. Anyhow. So I think that's all the things I was really going to bring up. There's some other stuff. We want to make sure everybody gets into the art contest and starts playing with that. I have not submitted yet, but it's the holiday season, and several of our things for it are based on the holidays. So please check out the themes and grab some art, some poetry, prose, pictures, drawings, creative construction of pieces around the house into some kind of sculpture, whatever it is you might want to do that is artistic in endeavor, and share it with the community. We'd love to see it. Other than that, it is the holiday season, so I don't expect people to try to jump in and game with each other after the show. But because there's a lot of opportunity to bring up some cheap and great games to play with each other, maybe look at that. Check what other people have on their wish list and see if you want to gift and share with others. But also I always suggest those multiplayer games so you can play with your friends. I think, that's fun when you accidentally hit a button on your phone that is voice record and you start talking. That's a thing. And you get to see how good or bad the voice does. Wow. That captured a good portion of the show right there. delete. Anyhow. Yeah. So with that, though, I think we're probably going to end it. Probably not as clean and beautifully as I could, but we'll try. Also, like I said, I apologize. The quality of this show is likely a little lower than what everybody's used to, but that's mostly because we are broadcasting via the Wi-Fi from New Mexico, and I think I went from a normal bandwidth where I was putting it out at 1.5 megabit down to half a megabit, and a little less than 720 quality. So while it's set up to be 720, this is not this episode. So sorry if the text is hard to read. Email in, we'll get you the links. All right. So with that, I'm going to call it. You've been listening to ShowX and VTWProductions.com. I want you all to have a very Merry Christmas. We'd love to hear on the next show any really geeky gifts that you got this holiday season, games and tech and anything that you find that is geek related. We'd love to hear it. Anime, you name it, whatever it is. If you were especially excited about it or something, someone got you and they just got it to a T and they did a great job, email us in at showx@vtwproductions.com and let us know. We'd love to hear from you. All right, guys, I'm going to call it. It's been a wonderful time. Next week, we should have Ken back as we get ready to welcome in the new year. Hopefully, you can tell us about what you enjoyed about this past year and what you're looking forward to in 2018. All right, everybody, thank you very much. Merry Christmas, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody. As I now have to find all the buttons and things that are hidden around one screen.